So here's the question. How do you install a hose bib, specifically a frost-free hose bib? Well, the first step is to dry fit it. In this case, I also dry fit a 1/2 inch piece of copper into my quarter turn ball valve just to double check that it went in by 1/2 of an inch. Then my next step was to put on this 1/2 inch copper female threaded adapter onto the hose bib and get the measurement between the end of that and the end of the quarter turn ball valve, and then cut a piece of Type L copper using the auto cut tool. I love that little tool. It makes square cuts. Then you want to deburr both the inside and the outside of the copper pipe and use emery cloth to clean it. These are really important steps for soldering. The next step is to also prep the inside of this adapter by making sure that you use a brush on that. Then you can use OD H2O flux. Hot tip, just make sure it's not expired. There's an expiration date on all fluxes. Also stir that up properly and then it's mixed thoroughly. And then you can apply flux to the inside of the adapter as well as to the pipe. Put those two together. We're also going to be using OD Safe Flow solder. This is my choice. I love that. Then you can use a striker, Bernzomatic MAP gas along with the mag torch. Also, hot tip here, you can support your copper pipe on your workbench with a rigid cutter. You want to preheat the pipe, the first 1/2 inch of it, as well as the adapter. Don't overheat this adapter, otherwise the threads inside of it will soften and you'll develop a leak later on. So just melt the solder and make sure that you have a nice tight seal there. Clean off any of the excess flux and make sure that it looks good. Then you can use pipe dope and Teflon tape. This is fast tape. It's a tape that you can use for threaded fittings, and Megalock over top of this. This is your pipe dope. So if you use these two in combination, you're really going to reduce the odds of developing a leak in your threads. Carefully push the hose bib through the wall. Then you can thread on the female adapter and your pipe, and make sure that if this spins, you can use a wrench or something to hold the hose bib in place while you tighten it with your crescent wrench. Don't over tighten it, just enough so that you don't develop a leak. You can take the nut off the compression valve, dry fit the pipe, make sure it fits in there. You can even mark it with a marker to make sure it went in the whole 1/2 inch. And then what you can do next is slide the nut on and then put your ferrule behind that line. The ferrule will go into the quarter turn ball valve. You want to hand tighten that and then tighten the nut again by about a 1/2 turn. Turn it on, check for any leaks, and if you don't have any, you can move on to the next step, which is to use a carbide drill bit to drill through a brick or stucco. You just want to go in far enough for the Tapcons that you're going to be using to attach this to brick or stucco homes. So Tapcons are what I'm going to be using here. They're great. And then you can use a driver bit. This is a magnetic driver bit by Milwaukee, and that really secures the hose bib to the home. It's not going to go anywhere. In this case, I'm also going to be using a silicone to seal this up against the stucco, and then you can tool that with, yes, a popsicle stick. Then, as you can see here, you'll get great results. So hopefully these tips help you out with your own hose bib installation. And if you do have any questions, please let me know down in the comments. I'd be more than happy to help you out. So thanks for watching, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.